Hi everyone, my name is Nelson. I want to tell you my story about how my breasts have grown. Big, as a woman, and only in 24 hours. I'm sure every girl would like to get such an effect, but I was lucky for some reason. Getting ahead of myself, I'll say that I didn't want that. I kind of had a good life without it. But why was it like that? I'll tell you about that now. In the meantime, watch and listen, like and comment. I'll read it all of it. Honestly, my sister Catherine and I were just taking my parents on vacation. They decided to take a vacation together, and we were very happy for them. We somehow convinced my parents that we were going to be just fine, that nothing was going to happen to the house or us. My sister and I decided not to tell any of our friends about my folks leaving, so they wouldn't start hinting about the party. It was business as usual, only without the folks. Catherine went to work. She decided not to go to college, but to stay home with us. On the second day of our independent life, I felt a slight malaise in the middle of class. At first, I didn't pay attention, but then I felt dizzy, then nausea, and I ran to the bathroom. They let me out of the last class. I came home and collapsed on my bed. I didn't have the strength to even get up. I called Catherine and she got off work. The nurse took my temperature and asked me how I was feeling. Apparently you have the flu. Flu? So, is it dangerous? You'll live. What do you mean? Will I live how? Will I get sick but still live? Or will I get better? Or will I not be able to walk anymore? Or, relax Nelson, it's just the flu. It's dangerous, but you've had it before. You're young. Your immune system can handle it. So come on, here's your medicine. Drink it and go to bed. You need to sweat it out. Okay, I'm feeling a little chilly. It's the fever. It happens. It's normal. I'll make you some broth. Catherine took care of me that day. She brought food and medicine into the room and took my temperature. I ate and fell asleep for the night. The next day I didn't feel well, still couldn't walk, and had a bad sore throat. I saw a note from Kat on my desk. Gone to work, medications are on your desk. Drink them all one at a time like it says on the piece of paper. Broth is in the fridge. I'll be there tonight. If anything, call me. She wrote. I also thought, damn, how could she leave when I'm in such a state? I'm sick, but there was nothing to do. So I went to wash my face somehow, then came to drink the medicine. But suddenly I got dizzy and hit the tray with my hand that had the medicine on it. They were all separated by the same amount. The paper was soaked because of the water. The letters were blurred. The pills were mixed up. In short, the horror. I began to panic. I called my sister and she told me where to get these drugs. They were in a box in her room. I went there, took out the box and was shocked. There was just a sea of drugs. While I was going through them, my mother called me. I picked up the phone and told her in detail what was going on with me. While I was talking to her, I grabbed the pills and drank a few of them. After a couple of hours, I realized that I wasn't getting any better, so I drank more and then more and then more. I felt something new in my body in the form of a tingling sensation in my chest. It's strange, I thought. I've never had that before. I was in a state of shock and I felt a tingling sensation in my chest. And then I blacked out. I woke up when Kat came into the room. She took my temperature and told me I was burning up. She called an ambulance and I was so sleepy I don't even remember being taken away and hospitalized. I didn't wake up until the next day because I was terribly thirsty. I saw that the ward was empty. I got out of bed and went into the corridor. Passers-by stared at me and I didn't understand why. I went to the front desk and asked to call the nurse. They gave me a phone. Kat said she'd be there in a couple of hours. I went back to my room, went to the bathroom, washed my face, and saw myself in the mirror. Ah! Ah! I yelled like crazy because something incomprehensible was sticking out from under my hospital shirt in my chest area. I carefully lifted my clothes and saw my breasts. They were real women's breasts. Small in size, but they were there nonetheless. I was so scared. I just screamed. A nurse came running in at the scream. I showed her my tits and asked what they'd done to me. Calm down. I'm going to call the doctor. What the fuck are you all doing here? I will sue you. Did you sew someone else's chest on me? Were you all drunk? I'm going to call the doctor. She went out and I just packed my things and ran out into the street. I didn't feel comfortable. I had no idea how to live. I didn't have any money or a phone with me, so I just ran outside towards the house, which was a hell of a lot farther away. I must have looked inadequate from the outside. I was really thirsty, so I went over to a girl and asked her to help me. At that moment, my shirt flew open. She saw me and yelled, "Pervert!" Then her boyfriend flew up and I barely managed to get my feet away. I decided that walking was not an option, so I jumped on the bus, trying my best to cover myself with my shirt, which had torn buttons. I must have torn them when I got dressed. The bus braked sharply and I grabbed the handrail. At that moment, some old lady stuck her face right into my chest. I pulled her off and she yelled at the whole bus, "Pervert on the bus! Watch out for the kids!" I yelled back that I wasn't a pervert and there was nothing wrong with me, that I wasn't like that, but no one listened. The bus stopped and a crowd of men moved in on me, preparing their fists. I just jumped out the open window and ran on. I felt like I was about to die somewhere. I ended up in an unfamiliar place, a kind of ghetto, as I realized later. The cheeky guys saw me like a helpless mouse and ran after me. I was running away from them. My strength was failing me. I didn't know what to do next. They called me a chick and other swear words. I tried not to listen to them. A cafe came towards me. I ran in and hid in the toilet, catching my breath and crying. After a while, people started banging on the door. "Leave me alone, I haven't done anything to you. What do you want from me?" I shouted in tears. But from behind me came this calm woman's voice. "Excuse me, are you sick? Is there anything I can do to help?" I timidly opened the door, and behind her stood a lovely waitress. She was also the owner of the cafe. I told her briefly what had happened to me. She took me to her office and gave me something to eat and drink and a phone to call Katie. "So, how's the new body treating you?" I will never say anything about women's breasts again. I won't make jokes. I won't even look at them. They're so weird up close. It's a good thing at least without hair, or I would have thrown it upon myself. I didn't think it would hurt so much to run with them. Yeah, without a bra it hurts. I used to have a funny thing with the guys, running up behind girls and pulling their bra off, and then abruptly letting go of the elastic, you know. Oh yeah? That hurts. That's probably my punishment, but I won't do it again. I get it. There's your lesson. Life teaches us all something sooner or later. If you don't understand the lesson, the next one will be much harsher. I guess you're right. Thanks for not scaring me. What's the big deal? My brother's breasts are bigger than yours. What happened to him? He's been eating his way through problems, not dealing with them. He gained weight, and then he overdid it and even got breasts. Oh, sad. I'm so sorry. At this point, my sister was running all over the hospital looking for me like crazy. Then she came to get me and pick me up. Catherine calmed me down, told me that my situation could be remedied. I just had to go back to the hospital. I agreed. The doctor came up to me and started examining me and then asked what I'd been drinking at home. I told it like it was. I don't remember the name, I just remember the picture on the package. There was a picture of a flower. Oh shit, those are my pills. They're for women. Are they hormonal? Yes. What does that mean? You have a malfunction in your body due to a large batch of female hormones, so your breasts have grown, but it's easy to correct. I was very happy. I was prescribed medicine and I started taking it very strictly. By the time my parents arrived, everything had normalized and I was as before. How have you been here without us, our children? Catherine and I looked at each other and smiled and said that everything went well without incident.
Hi everyone, I'm Amber. There are a lot of rumors about me at school, and they are not the most pleasant for me. And all because I have the biggest butt. Do you think this is a good thing? Then listen to my story and you will draw your own conclusions. Do not forget to write your opinion in the comments, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. Life at school is not easy. There are criteria by which you are evaluated. It's easier for guys. You're either a popular athlete or a quiet loser. But for girls, it's much more complicated. We are judged by character, appearance, even connections. There's a girl in my class. She's the principal's daughter. Everyone avoids her, constantly thinking before talking to her. Yes, maybe they're afraid of her, or they respect her, or they just don't want her to report everything to daddy. Sometimes I envy her because she has a quiet, measured life. I'd like one too, but that's not what I have. You'd be surprised if I told you that I'm popular too, but I'm not one of the 4 local rich people. Nature has given me something very big. The fact is that since birth, I have had a big butt. You will say that there are problems much worse than this. Considering that now many girls work out to try to achieve this, I would like to get rid of it. In general, it all started in childhood. My mother could not find any clothes that fit me because I stupidly couldn't fit into any pants. They got stuck on my buttocks. My mother had to buy pants several sizes larger, sew them at the waist, and shorten the length. She said it was funny, but it wasn't funny to me at all. For this reason, I wore skirts and dresses that there were no problems. I'm not even talking about the underwear that my mother bought for me as a teenager, but sometimes even the skirts didn't save me. My butt bulged out like a sail. I felt like a sheep, which is what they called me at school. The older I got, the more rumors were spread about me. Everyone stared at my butt, turned around to look at me. At those moments, I wanted to sink into the ground. When I was 13, I found a way to deal with this stress. I started eating. I ate everything I could find in the refrigerator at home, ate at school, and ate on the way to school. I especially wanted to eat in public when I was the center of attention. In general, after 2 years, I became even bigger. And all because the calories I ate went exactly where I didn't want them to go. At the age of 15, the school chairs were so small for me that 2 chairs were placed for me as an exception. It was so humiliating, but I couldn't just sit on one. My classmates took photos surreptitiously, distributed them, and discussed them in loud whispers. All I wanted was to be left alone. And only my mother said that this isn't bad, but on the contrary, it's a matter of pride. A woman's curves are very beautiful, she told me, but I didn't think so. A year later, when teenagers reached the peak of the hormonal jump, the guys began to get handsy. They could not pass by me just like that. They always tried to touch or pinch me. Then there were rumors that I had some kind of augmentation surgery, but that's nonsense. Allegedly, they wanted to make sure that it was natural, but no one ever asked me how I felt about it. It was hard carrying a load from behind. After a while, varicose veins appeared on my legs, and my mother and I had to treat them. And then I met a guy on the internet. His name was Clay. I didn't post a photo below the waist, and he liked me. He came to my city 2 months later, moved with his family, and came to my school. When I first met him in the hallway, he was so happy, but then he saw my whole body. He slowed down and then said hello, and he couldn't take his eyes off my lower body. Everyone noticed this and started laughing. I couldn't stand it and ran home. I asked my mother to transfer me to another school, but she wouldn't even listen. After all, it was the best school in the city. Then I asked for a reduction operation, but my mother was against me going under the knife. A day later, Clay came up to me again. He apologized 100 times and then offered to take a walk with me. At first, I didn't want to, but he talked me into it. During the walk, I learned that Clay is an amateur photographer. He invited me to participate in a photo session, and before I declined, he showed me some pictures of his work. They were not just normal girls. Some were full, some didn't have a leg, an arm, but they looked just amazing in the pictures. I take these photos so they can see themselves from the outside and understand how beautiful they really are. Just like you. You are more beautiful than any girl I know, and I want you to see it, he told me. And I agreed. We had a photo shoot out in nature. At first, I was embarrassed, but then I relaxed and it gave me confidence. The very next day, the pictures were displayed on his page on social networks. Clay has about 1 million followers, and they were all crazy about my photos. I woke up that day as a celebrity. At school, I was already perceived differently, treated with respect, and from that moment on, I never heard any mockery against me. A few photos changed my life so much. Clay let me know that I was beautiful, much more beautiful than anyone who had ever slandered me. I finally realized this and accepted myself. I was no longer shy about wearing pants. I was no longer shy about my body. I was even proud of it. So, a lot depends on our own perception. And if you doubt yourself, just look from the outside and love yourself. Then the people around you will never dare to offend you again, because you will start to respect and appreciate yourself. Do you agree with my opinion? If so, please write why. And if not, give at least one reason not to love yourself.